Good morning, students. Today we are going to study another example of vector triple product. Okay. So in the second example, we have to show that vector A cross B cross C plus vector B cross C cross A plus vector C cross A cross B is equal to 0. So this is vector triple product of three vectors. Okay, and we add these three vectors by taking these three vectors in a cyclic order. So ABC, BCA and CAB. Okay, so to show that, we are using this definition. We know that vector A cross B cross C is A dot C dotted with B minus AB dotted with C. Okay, so using that, okay, so on the left hand side we have A cross B cross C is equal to vector A dotted with C multiplied by B minus vector A dotted with B and multiply by vector C plus. Now to solve this vector triple product using this formula, okay, A dot C, which means first and last vector. Okay, A cross B cross C, we are taking dot product of first and last vector. Here first and last vectors are vector B and A. Okay, multiply by, okay, B, here that vector is C minus, okay, A dot B, which means first and second vector, okay, which is dot product of B, okay, vector B dotted with C and multiply by last vector, which is vector A, plus again same formula we are using. So dot product of first and last vector, here first and last vectors are C and B, so C dotted with B and multiply by second vector, which is vector A, minus, okay, A dot B, which means C dot A and multiply by vector B. Now here see this vector A dot C, and here we have vector C dot A. So by property of dot product, vector A dot C is equal to vector C dot A, and here we are multiplying that with vector B, and here again we are multiplying with that vector B. Here we have positive sign and here we have negative sign. So these two quantities cancel each other. Here we have vector A dot B and here we have B dot A. By property of dot product, these two vectors are same. So multiply by vector C, multiply by vector C. Here we have plus sign, here we have minus sign. So this quantity is cancelled with this quantity, and here vector B dot C, and here we have C dot B. Again multiply with vector A, positive and negative. So these two quantities cancel each other. So adding all these quantities we get 0, and which is RHS. Okay, so here we prove that A cross B cross C plus this identity. Okay, so with this we finish our topic of vector triple product. Okay, now we are going to study next topic, scalar and vector fields. Scalar and vector fields. So first of all, we are going to study what is meant by field. Okay, so you have heard many other times magnetic field, electric field, gravitational field. Okay, so what is meant by field? Okay, suppose you have bar magnet. Okay, so suppose this is a bar magnet, and if you put bar magnet like this, and if you take another bar magnet toward this magnet, then we know that this bar magnet attract this another bar magnet towards. Okay, if both poles are north and south. So we know that for that bar magnet, there is some region around that bar magnet in a space. Okay. In that region, if we take another bar magnet, that bar magnet is experiencing or exerting force. Okay. So what is mean by field? Field is a region of space. Okay. Is a region of space in which any physical quantity is defined. Suppose if region in a region of space we are finding temperature at different places, at here, okay. So in that case there we have temperature field. If you take charge, okay, which is having charge plus q, then around that charge we have electric field. Okay. Suppose we have magnet which is consist of north and south poles, then around that magnet we have magnetic field in the space. Okay. Suppose we have mass particle which is having mass m, then around that mass particle we have gravitational field. Okay. So field is a region of space in which a given quantity is physical quantity is defined. Depending upon what physical quantity we are defining, we have gravitational field, electric field, magnetic field, and variety of fields. Okay. Now, point function. To specify any field, we need point function. What is meant by point function? Point function is a function of space coordinate. Okay. Space coordinate. What are those space coordinates? Suppose x, y, z are the space coordinate. So point function is a function of x, y, z. Okay. Which specifies that physical quantity. This point function is a function, suppose phi, which is function of x, y, z, and phi is representing temperature at different places. Then we know that phi is a point function. You can take this as potential, okay, scalar potential also, or magnetic field also. Suppose you are taking magnetic field induction, okay, and you are representing this as function of x, y, z. So again this is point function. For representing any field we need point function, which is function of space coordinate, and that function gives value of physical quantity, okay, what we are measuring. Now we are going to study what is meant by scalar and vector fields. First of all, scalar field. What is the definition of scalar field? It is straightforward and very simple definition. What is that definition? The definition of scalar field is that suppose in a given region of space, a physical quantity which is scalar is varying. A field representing scalar function or scalar physical quantity in a given region of space, such field is known as scalar fields. Okay. Now example of scalar field is the suppose temperature. Okay. For example, this is the container in cubical form. Okay. And I have shown cross section, and here we have put source of temperature which is having temperature capital T. Okay. So this is the source of temperature. We know that suppose we are taking points, suppose we are at this point, temperature is T1, at this point temperature is T2, here temperature is T3, T4, T5, T6. So near the source, okay, temperature T1 is higher than temperature T2, which is higher than T3, which is higher than T4, which is higher than T5. So as we move away from that source, temperature goes on decreasing. Okay, so here we have surface like this. What are those surfaces? Suppose you are measuring temperature at any point, then we know that temperature is T1. So on this surface, temperature is constant. Again, on this surface, temperature is constant, which is T2. On this surface, temperature is constant, which is T3. So here we have isothermal surfaces, okay, around which temperature is constant. Okay, so these are known as equipotential or surfaces. These surfaces represents fields. Okay, and to represent this field we need function. Suppose phi is function of t, so and this function is a scalar scalar point function. So to represent scalar field we need scalar point function. Okay, now if you take this as x-axis and this as y-axis, so t is a function of x and y. Okay, phi is a function of temperature, which is function of x and y. Okay, so this is the scalar point function. Now you take another example of scalar field is gravitational potential. Okay, we know, suppose we have object which is having mass m, then gravitational potential is minus gm upon r. Okay, suppose you take another object which is having which is having mass m, then gravitational potential energy of this two is minus gm m upon r, and potential is gm upon r. Okay, r is the radial distance from this object. Okay, we know that suppose you take r at this point, we can draw circle. Okay, so on this circle r is constant, so gravitational potential is constant. In 3 dimension you can take spherical shell. On that shell gravitational potential is constant. Now if you take r radius r1 which is larger than this, okay, okay, r1 r2 which is larger than this, then we know that as r goes on decreasing, gravitational potential as r goes on increasing, this quantity goes on decreasing. Okay, why? Because this is minus gm upon r. So here we have equipotential surface. Okay, instead of mass, suppose you have charge plus q. We know that potential of that charge is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r. Again, this is a constant quantity and we have k upon r. So if you take r, we have circle. Okay, in 3 dimension we have spherical shell which is having radius r. On that shell potential is constant. Okay, to represent scalar fields we need scalar point function. Here scalar point function is this potential. Okay, for gravitational we have already shown. Okay, for temperature we have already shown. Now vector fields. What is the definition of vector fields? If in a given region of space, given physical quantity is a vector quantity. Okay, in a given region of fields, given physical quantity is a vector quantity, then such fields are known as vector fields. Okay, now for vector fields we need vector point function to represent that field. Instead, in case of scalar field we need scalar point function. For vector field we need vector point function. What is the example of vector field? Is suppose magnetic induction vector, okay, vector B. Vector B, we know that if we have magnet which is having north and south pole, then we can draw flux lines like this. You have seen figure like this many times. Okay, so in this region, B is the vector which is perpendicular to this flux line or tangent to this vector lines. Sorry, not perpendicular, tangent. So to represent vector field, we can show by flux lines. Okay, and that vector field is having higher value where those flux lines are much closer to each other, like here and here. Here, that vector field B is higher compared to these vectors. Magnitude of this vector is higher. Okay. Now, another example of vector field is electric field. Okay. Again, gravitational field. If you write electric field intensity of plus q charge, okay, so electric field is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r into r cap. Okay, so for this, here electric fields are radially outward. So again, that depends upon r. Okay, suppose you have taken r constant. Okay, then at this point, physical quantity is q upon r square r cap, which means it is radially outward. At this point it is like this, at this point it is like this, at this point it is like this. So direction is radially outward, but magnitude of these all vectors are same. So around this charge particle we are having electric field which is radially outward, and magnitude of this electric field may be different. Okay, but direction is radially outward. So in this region we have vectors. All the quantities, physical quantities, are vectors. Suppose this charge is minus q, then direction of this will opposite to this. Okay, okay, suppose you have dipole, electric dipole, plus q and minus q. Okay, so again field is modified like this, like this. We have electric flux lines, and magnitude of electric field at any point we have to draw just tangent. Okay, so in this way we can find out various fields. So we have studied what is mean by scalar field and what is mean by vector fields. Okay, so with this we finish our scalar and vector field topic. Now second, another topic we have to study, which is very short topic. Differentiation of a vector with respect to scalar. Means we have to take derivative of any vector, and we are taking derivative of that vector with respect to scalar. So we are taking derivative of this vector A, and t is the scalar quantity. So d by dt of vector A. So how we take derivative? So we know that by definition, okay, by definition, this is as limit as delta t tends to 0, okay, increment in vector A divided by increment in time. Okay, so same definition is for any scalar function. Instead of A, if you have scalar function A, then we know that this is the definition of derivative. Suppose we have vector A which is having component and you are taking derivative of a with respect to time. Then if you take derivative, then d by dt of ax, d by dt of ay, and d by dt of az. So this is dax by dt I cap, d ay by dt j cap, plus daz by dt k cap. Okay, so this is the derivative of any vector quantity. We are differentiating its x component. So if you take derivative of any vector with respect to scalar, it is again a vector quantity. Okay, ax by dt, this quantity is a magnitude of this vector magnitude of k cap. Okay, so resultant quantity is again a vector quantity. In physics, we have many situations in which we are differentiating vector with respect to scalar. What are those situations? We know that velocity of a particle is derivative of displacement. Okay, so on right hand side we have displacement vector, vector r. Again, acceleration is derivative of velocity. So here we are again differentiating this vector. Okay, angular velocity is derivative of angular position, d theta by dt. Angular acceleration is derivative of angular velocity. Okay, so again, torque is derivative of angular momentum. Okay, there are many examples in which we are differentiating vector with respect to scalar. Then rules of this. Suppose we have two vectors and we are taking addition of these two vectors and we are differentiating that vector with respect to scalar. Then this is nothing but by distributive law, derivative of first vector plus derivative of second vector. Okay, so this is the first rule. Second rule, derivative of dot product. Again, by using dot product distribution law and product rule of derivative. So this is derivative of first vector with respect to time dotted with vector b plus a dotted with derivative of second vector. Okay, and third rule, d by dt of a cross b is nothing but we have again by using distributive law derivative of first vector crossed with b plus vector a crossed with derivative of second vector. So these are the important rules for addition, dot product and cross product while taking derivative. Okay, so with this we finish our lecture over here. Thank you.